Congressman, what are your predictions here? You guys seem divided on some of these issues. Can you come together and get a budget that's credible?
Neil, I believe we can have our cake and eat it too. I believe we can get a good budget that pluses up military spending because, for instance, General Dempsey tells us that he's not getting enough money to be able to field a first-class military. And I think we can do that as well as get our budget balanced within 10 years and perhaps even as little as 4.
I hope you're right, but obviously what you give it to one ear, let's say defense, you're going to have to take from something else, and that's going to cause a new dust-up with Democrats who say you're abandoning the sequestration cuts that you guys wanted.
Well, the only reason why we're even having a struggle with the sequestration issues, the part of what we call discretionary spending, right, is that the entitlement, the mandatory spending, which is now about 2/3 of our budget, we can't do anything about. You have to reform that fundamentally. And so we have a smaller and smaller piece of that pie we have to deal with.
Right.
Now, I'll take you quickly back to 2011. Remember, we programmed cuts into the Pentagon of $500 billion, and everybody was on board with that. Then we went forward with this super committee idea and all of that nonsense, and we put our military on the negotiating table. I voted against that. I thought it was a bad idea. And we got exactly what I didn't want to get, and that was another $5 billion in military cuts. Too much for us to be able to field a first-class military.
Well, you might be right, and you follow these numbers closer than I do, sir, but I'm thinking of a $600 billion budget. If they can't at least get the right in that, I find that a little incredible. Having said that, though, I think this sequestration deal, sloppy as it was, inelegant as it was, wrong-headed in many areas as it was, to your point, it was the closest we had to fiscal discipline, I think, in certainly recent history. And you could be risking making that history. Do you worry about that?
Well, what we're looking at doing is reformatting the budget slightly so that we don't break the firewall between the caps. This way, by adding OCO money, overseas contingency funds, to the defense side, we don't require the increases back on the non-defense discretionary spending. So we're able, again, to have our cake and eat it, too. We can get the needed dollars for military without busting the overall caps and sequestration, and then, of course, achieving the budgetary goals that we choose to have.
Congressman, thank you very much. Although that expression, have your cake and eat it too, my view, sir, is that if the cake is there, you might as well eat it. But I digress. But very good having you. I appreciate it.
Great. Thank you, Neil.